Good morning, Auto One. I hope you're all well. Um, we're going to be looking at a car that's got a couple of lights on the dash warning icons. This car is a Nissan Altima, and you can see down here on the screen that it is an '03 of '07. There's the vehicle identification number as well. And while we're here, we will notice that there's another sticker in here that's got the tire pressure, and it says that the front should be 33, rear 33, and the spare 33. And so what did we say that was? An '03 of '07. So this is a March of 2007, and it's a Nissan, and it's an Altima. It's a 3.5 SE V6. That's 3.5 liters combined cylinder volume. So as we look inside this car, sorry to get you dizzy for a moment. I'm pulling this inside, closing the door, and look what we got on the screen. We've got a brake light. Well, that's just e-brake. So if I can release the emergency brake, and it didn't go out, so that means there's an issue with the brakes, some sort of issue. The seatbelt light's on, but I don't have my seatbelt on. And you'll notice that the tire pressure monitor light's on, and the battery light's on, and it's kind of flickering every so often. Well, the battery light means that the alternator is not charging, and you can see on the tachometer that the engine's idling at about, I'm going to say 800 or 900 RPM right now. So the car is running. Speed is 0 because we're not moving, and the car's warmed up. The temperature's right in the middle, and we got just over a quarter tank, maybe a third of a tank of gas in there. When you first start the car, let me shut it off for a moment. You'll notice that there's a flashing TPMS trying to get your mind wrapped around it. And for whatever reason, the brake light is off and the battery light went off. Well, I'm beginning to think that the reason why the battery light's on is because the alternator is not charging. And on this car, it seems to be kind of intermittent. And the brake light is probably a warning that the Nissan turns on that we could see in the owner's manual when there's a fault. I just put the e-brake back on. There's the brake light. I just put it off there. It's off. But you notice that the battery warning icon is off at the moment, and so that is intermittent. So we're going to check why the battery icon is on and what it means, and we're going to check why we got that flashing TPMS light. So let me shut this guy off for a moment. Actually, I'll let it run for just a moment, and we'll come out here. And this is pretty simple stuff. This is Auto One level stuff. You can do this, okay? So we're going to bring this over here. I'm going to put the camera down so we can see the engine. We'll pause for just a moment. Okay, Auto One, so what I'm going to do is first try and diagnose that battery light that is coming on and off. At the moment, it's off. And we're going to go ahead and take a voltmeter, and you can see the voltmeter down here. And I'll put it up to the screen. This is a little digital voltometer for the automotive field. We're going to turn to V for volts. When we do, this one automatically configures to an auto ranging scale for DC volts. If we push the blue button, now it'll read AC volts up here. Push it again, we're back to DC. Cars run on DC. And the reason why they run on DC is because we can only store DC voltage. We can't store AC. And because we have to start it from a dead stop, then what we've got to do is we've got to be able to have a storage battery, which has to be DC. We can't store AC. We'll hook the black to negative. And it does say negative there, and the red to positive. It's okay if I hook it up backwards. If I hook it up backwards, it'll just read negative on the screen. I'll show you. And this is true of voltmeters. You can't hurt the thing by hooking up backwards. It just reads negative now. So I'm going to swap it. There are other times when we absolutely don't switch the leads, but on a voltmeter, it's okay. Now this says 14.05 volts, okay? And what you have is automotive charging systems will run usually 13.5 to 14.5 volts. Right now, the battery light's off because this alternator is charging right now, and it was not charging before. Um, so it seems to be intermittent. It seems to be coming and going. Yesterday, when I started the car, the battery light was just flickering just slightly on the dash. I checked the voltage, and it had 12.3 volts, which is the battery voltage, and it wasn't being charged while the car is running. So I'm going to shut the car off and show you what it's going to look like. You can see right now that we've got about 14 volts on the screen. When I shut it off, you can see that the battery voltage, or the voltage drops down to basically battery voltage. It's down at 12.6 and falling. An automotive battery has, fully charged automotive battery is 12.6 volts. After it's been running, it'll have an elevated charge called the surface charge on it, because the battery is a living environment and it kind of gets excited. Well, now it's calming down, and you're seeing we're at 12.4 and we're falling. When the car restarts, the alternator should be charging at about 13.5 to 14.5 volts, because the alternator is trying to push current back into the battery. So it has to have greater electrical pressure in order to push current into the battery. So that's why the higher voltage. So this battery light intermittently flickers and then comes on, and then the alternator is not charging, and then all of a sudden it charges again. So probably inside the alternator there's an issue, which is really an auto 2 kind of thing, where you may have the brushes intermittently contacting, etc., etc. But this car was given to us because the owner was afraid of it, because the number of times it had just stalled and wouldn't restart. And every time I came to check them, which was twice, the battery was completely dead, or was too dead in order to be able to start the car. So the battery, if we look at it for a moment, is just to kind of check things out thoroughly. The battery has a date code of 1-20 on it, which means this battery was purchased in January of 2020. It's a very new battery. And we did charge it the other day, and then we did a test called a load test and verified that the battery was in good shape. So the battery is not the issue, and the cable connections are clean and tight. We took them off and we cleaned them with a battery brush, which I'll show you how to do later, and we got that all going. So I just wanted you to see the connection between the alternator light being on, and in this case it's kind of going on and off, and it's intermittent. Most likely we're going to have to replace the alternator, although there is sometimes you can repair them. But let's look at that TPMS light now. So we're going to use a tool called a tire pressure monitor tool, and we're going to ID this car. It's a Nissan, and I'm going to go to Altima and select yes, and it's an 07, so 07 to 2010, yes. And it says to go to the left front wheel speed sensor, and so what I'm going to do is come down to the left front sensor. Let me move the camera back, and I'm going to go ahead and put this right next to the tire, and I'm going to push test, and we'll see what it says on the screen. It should give me the tire, there's a battery in that tire pressure monitor. It should give me the battery life, and it should tell me the pressure. It says no sensor detected. So that means that this sensor, this left front sensor, is not reading. We'll go around to the other one. One sec. Okay, so we're coming over to the right side of the car, and we're going to go ahead and test the right front one, and I think the glare is such that you might be able to see. And it recorded. It says 34.7 psi. Gives an ID for the sensor. It's a 315 megahertz sensor, and it says next. So this one's reading, and it's basically 35 pounds, which is, now it wants me to do the right rear. So I'll go around to the right rear, and hopefully, I don't know if my lead is going to stretch that far. Maybe it will. Yep, it did. So here we go. We'll push yes. Oh, what happened? And return. 1 second. Sorry. Okay, I got to go right rear. I'm going to hit test. And I put this right next to where the the tire valve is, and it stored this one. This one's got 41 pounds, so the tire pressure is a bit high in this back tire. But I also noticed that the tire is getting kind of worn out there. Okay, so now we're at the left rear, and we're going to test this one, and hopefully it'll focus on the screen. Sorry, I can't see it, but hopefully it's working. And it stored the right rear, so we got 37 psi back here. And so what we have is, and we'll do it one more time, this left front sensor is not reading. And we'll go back here one more time so you can see it. And we're going to go to select tire. We're going to go to this one, right rear. We're going to go net left rear. And we're going to go, let me see if I can get back to, okay, here we go. So left front, just one more time. We're going to test it and see what it says. And I've got it right there next to it. Okay, it says no sensor detected. So the sensor in this left front wheel is going to have to be replaced. We've got to take that tire off the rim there and replace that sensor, and they're about $40. All right, that's it for now.